first topic. My top five Chicago rappers of all time. Um, First, I'm gonna just go with. I'm gonna start off with Kanye West. You know, as anybody who's watched my content, I've referenced Kanye on a number of occasions. But yeah, I gotta go with Kanye. For me, um, one thing I really like about Kanye, especially early on in his career, I think for me, as a fan of his, I just always liked the fact that he always, would speak from a very soulful place, like he really gave his all to his his music, and you can sense it in the tones and how he would rap, you know, his raps and things like that. Um, Very underrated with his flow. You know what I'm saying? I think Kanye has a really dope flow that he doesn't people recognize, but he doesn't. I don't think it gets I guess acknowledged enough. Like Kanye has a dope flow um, in his raps, um, and then he really clever with with a lot of his bars. A lot of the time, some very very notable kind of like what I call like statement bars. You know what I mean? Like he'll just, I think for me, some of my favorite rappers do that, especially Jay Z. It's not even necessarily a rhyme. It's just like I said, a statement that's just like says a lot type thing. Um, Drake does it, and Kanye. Um, but yeah, Kanye to me, probably you know the one art, probably the most biggest biggest artist I ever want to say from Chicago, probably most known rapper out of the Shy. Um, uh, Doing a project with Jay Z, Watch the Throne. You know what I'm saying, and holding his own with bars with Jay. You know what I'm saying. Says a lot about Kanye's rapping ability that like I said, I think doesn't get too uh, credited or whatever you want to call it. Um, but yeah, Kanye. Then next I'm gonna have to go with Common. Um, One of the smoothest flows um, in hip hop history. You know what I mean? Just how he flows on records and his voice and all that. Very distinctive when you talk about Common. Um, you know, he can he can rap. Common's rap with I've seen him rap with all types of, or I've listened to him rap with all type of artists and hold his own and have bars and not always be because a lot of I think most people would categorize Common in kind of that conscious type of rapper type thing, but he's rap with just kind of like freestyle type, just bar for bar type stuff, and with rappers of that come from that type of cloth, and he held his own type thing. So Common is really has a versatility as well in how he raps and stuff like that, and his raps to me is always like very clear. It's never you have to really question what the hell is Common saying. Like I mean, some artists, that's their style, kind of like you don't really know what they're saying. Like a lot of people want to call it mumble rap or whatever, but and it has its own elements and stuff that is cool about. But like with Common, you really are understanding what he's saying in his music, which I appreciate. And so yeah, Common. Then next I'm gonna go with G Herbo. For those that early fans of his know him as Lil Herb. I was you know I kind of caught wind of him, like you know kind of if for those who really know the drill era type thing, like he kind of came along like in the second wave, after the first wave, in my opinion, being Chief Keef, Lil Durk, uh, Reese, and King Louis, and then G Herbo, can 2014 at time, G Herbo, Lil Bibby, and others, kind of came along. But was a big fan of him during that time and era, especially the music he was doing with Bibby. I wish they come back together and start making music. You know what I'm saying? Together, because they got some classic joints, Herb and Bibby. But uh, just even to this day, he's still been making the music, and he's grown and evolved as an artist. If again, for those who've been early watchers to who he is, the artist he is now, his flows has changed over the years, and that's part of the evolution process as an artist, which is dope. But yeah, uh, and I've liked the growth that he has had as an artist. Um, and so yeah, got put him in my in there. Then Lupe Fiasco from Kick Push, and you know I just been a big fan of his ever since that record. One of those all time records for me, one of my favorite records of all time, and I just liked Lupe's lyricism and his flow. Uh, I think he kind of underrates himself. I've seen like an interview of him saying where he didn't really value his masters, but like you do have listeners, people who do listen to your art, so it must be worth something, But nonetheless, yeah, Lupe, um, he's just one of those great lyricists, in my opinion, of all time. I think Lupe could rap with the best of quote unquote. And he kind of like got his own kind of flow too and style and stuff. So big Lupe fan. Um, I've heard like Steph on the interview kind of give Lupe his props. Like he's like said he's one of his top 5 of all time type thing. Lupe Fiasco, for those who know just hip hop stuff, and really listen. Lupe is one of the goats. Um, and then Juice World to round it out. Juice World. I was a huge fan of Juice World when he first kind of got on the scene. He kind of, you know, his rise to just being what super known, in the industry, whatever, and uh, in the game, music, hip hop, whatever, came pretty quick. Like his he just kind of just it wasn't he just kind of bursted on at one of the top artists. But he was just one of those super talented artists. He really was super talented. Um, his ability to just his freestyling ability. He had that Biggie, Jay-Z level in terms of his ability to just come up with music from the dome, and it just make total sense and make all the sense in the world. Um, but I was always like, listening to his music. I was like, man, I don't. I remember times listening to him. I'm like, man, I don't know if he's gonna be around that long because some of the stuff he's saying. I could listen and his music was vibing, but I could tell he was somebody who was in some sense in a cry for help type of thing. But he was a great artist. He made super great music. Really connected well with those who had, dealing with mental health type thing. Um, he definitely, I think, brought awareness to the mental health in the industry. Um, but nonetheless, I just think Juice was he had some great records, could freestyle, one of the greatest freestylers of all time. Um, yeah, Juice World. Um, Definitely one of the ghosts in my opinion, especially within the this the this generation, this youthful generation. He's definitely one of the pioneers in my opinion. Um, then of course you got some, I always like to do honorable mentions of other great rappers and all that. Um, Vic Mensa, big fan of him from I first listened to him. Kind of got with him from acid rap, his joint with Chance. He was on a feature. Uh, is it Cocoa Butter Kisses? Like that was like I believe that's the name of the song, but um, his verse on that joint was really stood out and was like I thought was really good. Um, and then just some of his collabs with Kanye and just his bars and raps. Um, Vic Mensa is really nice to me. Then you got Chance. Chance is one of them. Really became a fan of him during that acid rap 10-day era. Um, when he was really starting to come out. He had the mixtapes and all that. Um, really, really, really had a distinctive kind of flow and sound to his music that I think a lot of people recognize. And he could rap, he could do, Chance can rap, so Chance, and then you got Lil Durk. Um, he's been around, like I said, he was around since the beginning of the drill wave, in my opinion. He's one of them pioneers, and he's still doing this thing to this day. He's, one of the people from that era and time that's, very, still doing this thing. I think, over time, as you can see, and that's not to down Chief Keef and nothing like that. He's doing, great artist and he's done his thing and made his imprint. But if you had to compare, Dirk and Chief Keef right now, I think probably most would say Dirk's probably, I guess, relevant more so, or in the in the I guess the culture, however you want to say it. He's I think more people listen to Dirk like now. But I don't think Chief Keef don't make as much music. I think he drops from time to time, but Dirk has really stuck to the craft, heavy, and then Chief Keef, obviously, what he's done, he's to me the godfather or the whatever of the drill wave. He pretty much is the pioneer of all of this drill stuff that people are doing. I will give that credit to Chief Keef because I was there to see, all of it all that happen, and on the internet and all that, and the influence he had um, when he came up, which was 2012 time. with the I Don't Like video and the joints he was putting out. That's what everybody, most artists of this era have implemented in their styles. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that should run it. That's about it on my mention. But yeah, that's my top five Chicago rappers. Kanye, Common, G Herbo, Lupe, Juice.